Where's internet?
Here comes internet. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, thank you for joining again. If we are a seeker,
Lord, you guys may want to mute.
if we are a seeker, I did it. She did it again. Okay. So if we are a seeker, we always succeed. But when we are a seeker, we explore the depth of our being. And it helps to know what are the problems and the challenges at the deeper layers of our personality. How mind is preventing the realization of permanent happiness, love, and wisdom. So the chapter 4 gives us a deeper understanding of practical psychology of Eastern wisdom, much deeper than the modern psychology. So, fourth chapter speaks about a very in-depth understanding of the mind, clarity of what exactly it means, the realization, and what it means by awakening. And it ends with defining the highest state of meditation. The highest state of meditation means Dharma Megh Samadhi. So we will have a little glimpse about this fourth chapter, because if I miss the fourth chapter, then we will say Ashtanga Yoga, Kriya Yoga, first chapter, we already had understood what meditation is. But it is way beyond. And we hardly care to read and understand the fourth chapter. So you see that it tells us about 5 different ways of self-realization. And the fourth chapter is known as Vibhuti Pada. Vibhuti means Siddhi. Siddhi means perfection. It has nothing to do with the supernatural faculties or powers. Siddhi means the perfection in meditation. So there are 5 ways to perfect. And but he discusses the right way that is already explained in the first 3 chapters. So there are many aspects which were not touched by the Patanjali in the first 3 chapters. He touches them. He explains them beautifully. He also explains that what is a process of natural evolution. You know, We also understand the physical evolution from the science. But here he explains that what is the process of natural evolution and from where we fit, as we are also evolving beings. So, where the natural evolution and where my personal evolution coincide. Very briefly, but very deeply. He also explains in this chapter the thoughts, vasana, and klesha and karma. Thoughts on one hand that we recognize, klesha. Have you understood about the klesha in a seed form? We do not know. So, thoughts at the known level, klesha at the unknown level, vasana again at the unknown level. What is the relationship between all these? He is very clear that awakening takes place in the mind. When the mind is pure, clear, then comes about the mind. How the mind perceives the world. What exactly is the mental perception? Like this, there are other topics that we will take up. So, the first is first sutra, Janma Aushadhi. Let us do the chanting also, so that in that way the fourth chapter will also come to an end. So we can claim we have done 3,000 hours of training. So, Janma Aushadhi, Mantra Tapaha, Samadhija, Siddhaya. I will chant 3 times. Janma Aushadhi, Mantra Tapaha, Samadhija, Siddhaya. First sutra of the fourth chapter. Janma Aushadhi, Mantra Tapaha, Samadhija, Siddhaya. Simple translation. Patanjali says that there are 5 ways to reach to the highest state of meditation. First is by birth, like Shankaracharya, Ashtavakra, great masters. Second is by Aushadhi. Aushadhi, the literal translation of Aushadhi means medicine. So here it refers to herbal medicine, herbs. We have in the IT industry, a lot of people take drugs and they say, oh, now I'm flying in the air. So that was also common in those days. Third is the mantra. So the mantra yoga is also a separate branch and school of yoga. So we go deeper into different types of mantra and we can achieve that. Tapaha. We have already understood in the second chapter, Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So when we say tapaha, it means, Patanjali means all the three. One is the discipline and education of the mind and body. Second is the self-study. And the third is Ishwar Pranidhana, path of emotional integration. And the fifth way is directly going into the samadhi that he has been explaining from the chapter 1, 2, 3. And now he comes to the fourth one. So means he indicates that what is the right approach to succeed in meditation, what he has explained in the previous 3 chapters. Now, if we go to the second sutra, then we had a glimpse that how the transformation of different species takes place. Second and possibly a third sutra also talks about that. So jatyantara parinama prakriti apurat. So he uses the word prakriti. So again, jatyantara parinama prakriti apurat. So simple meaning, one more time. Jatyantara parinama prakriti apurat. So what he says, simple translation will be the transformation from one into other species is accomplished through filling of their essential nature or natural tendencies. It means real self, to put simply, the real self is present in every being of this cosmos, universe, galaxy, whatever you say. Outer transformation takes place, but inner, everyone contains that essential nature. We are not talking of physical evolution by Darwin. We are not talking of Darwin theory of physical evolution, in which now also we can get some clue but what the Darwin says. Arvindo has explained it beautifully that the life was involved into the matter. So, by the natural process of evolution, the life evolved. Let us take in a different way. You can create a mathematical equation, matter, the lowest rung of evolution. So that matter is equal to existence. Now, matter plus life, plant kingdom, matter plus life plus consciousness, animal consciousness is animal kingdom. Matter plus life plus consciousness. Now, matter plus life plus self consciousness is the human being. Matter plus life plus self consciousness plus permanent happiness or ananda is what we say the God or the real self. So, in every stage of our evolution, more and more of the real self is manifesting. The life is one manifestation, animal mind is another manifestation, and human mind is still another, and ultimately, we have to evolve to our real self. So, this is how he puts the scheme. He explains the process of evolution by doing the practice. By doing the practice. Now, going into the third one is also explaining about little bit about the process of evolution. What he says, first let us chant together. Nimittam aprayojakam prakritinam varan bhedah tu tatah kshetrikvat kshetrikvat. Do it again. Nimittam aprayojakam prakriti nam वर्णभेदः तु ततः क्षेत्रिक्वत् निमित्तम् अप्रयोजकम् प्रकृतीनां वर्णभेदः तु ततः क्षेत्रिक्वत् क्षेत्रिक्वत् क्षेत्रिक्वत्. So if you translate this to make us understand this sutra, that he says that I am very kind and noble throughout my life, that is not enough for my awakening to real self. Good deeds are not the direct causes in the transformation of my nature. But yes, they act as a breakers of obstacles. If I follow the path, if I keep the good deeds and noble works, I find the obstacles are minimized in this process of evolution and reaching to the highest state of meditation where awakening takes place. Got it? So, this is what briefly we understand. So, now go to the third one. How a seeker continues his journey towards samadhi leading to the freedom. We have couple of sutras pertaining to this. So, if we see the third sutra, Nirman Chittani. What is that? Nirman Chittani. Asmita Matrat. So the fourth sutra is Nirman Chittani. Asmita Matrat. Nirman Chittani. Asmita Matrat. Now we are understanding. All minds are created, constructed from the pure I sense, from egoism, from I am, from the feeling of I am. All minds are created. What it means? So Patanjali says that we have multiple minds. How come? I know Christina, one mind. I know John, second mind. I know Brandy, third mind. I know my body, fourth mind. Are we not lucky? We have millions of minds. That is the cause of the problem. Now, Patanjali did not say, we are going to understand. So, that is the fourth one. So, understand. We have in science also, we take mind as one group of scientists say that we have only one mind. Other group of scientists says that we have multiple minds. So I'm not going there, just to give you a glimpse of. So let us move to the fifth one. We are understanding how the seeker continues his journey towards samadhi. So first point, multiple mind. So I calm down one mind, the other mind comes up. Pravarti bhede, fifth one. Pravarti bhede, prayojakam, chittam ekam, anekesham. Pravarti bhede, prayojakam, chittam ekam, anekesham. Do it once more time. Pravarti bhede, prayojakam, chittam ekam, anekesham. Now see the depth of understanding. Do we think? We are human beings, so we think. So when we think, we are a thinker, right? Do you agree? We are a thinker. So, but who is a thinker? Thinker is a thought, and thought is a thinker. Are we human being? I'm telling you, making it easy to understand. So this sutra says, out of many minds, one mind becomes the director, doer, claims the doership, and other mind becomes the activities. Did you get it? No. Do you think? Yes, I think. So how do you think? By a thought. So one thought becomes the thinker, and the rest of the thoughts remain the thought. It is again the same mind. Did you get it? Can I become aware? No, no, no. I did not succeed in meditation. Come on, this is also a thought. Get rid of it. I succeeded in meditation. Get rid of this thought also. You have to empty. Are you getting it? What we have studied in the first chapter. We forget this. When we forget, then we suffer. Look at the way our master Patanjali is explaining the in-depth psychology. Tatra dhyanajam. Sixth one. Tatra dhyanajam anashayam. Tatra dhyanajam anashayam. Tatra dhyanajam anashayam. What a beautiful verse. What that means? That by meditation we create a mind that is free from all the impression. We have already created so many mind. Huh? You are Lara, one mind. You are Christina, second mind. You are Kate, third mind. So now meditation creates a mind that is totally free from all the impressions, and that devours and eats up all the minds. Did you get it? So what happens then? Then this mind lives in emptiness all the time. Whether you are speaking, whether you are thinking deeper inside, you live with the mind that is totally free from all the impressions. So now the goal of meditation is to create that mind. By natural process of evolution, we got the mind, which has got lot of impurities, and now we have created this mind. It's one of the most beautiful verse, I find it. I am stressed, you created one mind. I am living loveless life, you created another mind. You see, it's such a beautiful way to put it. The way Patanjali puts the very in-depth psychology is like this. So let us see. Seventh verse. Now you see what seventh and a couple of more verses. Now he is going to explain the contents of the mind as vasana, as klesha, as thoughts, as suffering. Oh, lot of stuff. Karma ashukla akrishnam yoginah trividham iteresham. What a beautiful verse. You start thinking like this from today. Half of the miseries will go, but we will understand later. Karma ashukla akrishnam yoginah trividham itaresham. Karma ashukla akrishnam yoginah trividham iteration. You are a seeker. You are practicing daily. You are committed. The day comes you realize that your works, your activities, your thoughts are neither painful nor non-painful. You are totally separate from good, bad, and the mixed thoughts, feeling, sensation, actions in your life. Did you get it? No, no, I'm sorry. I have done something. I did a blunder. So I did something wrong. I taught you very good. So that is a good work, bad work, and sometimes it is mixed. Now go back to the say, he created that mind which is free from all the impressions. So I'm not a seeker, I'm an ordinary person. Good, bad, and the mixed results will continue to come. But for a yogi, I am now once and all free from good, bad works and the mixed one. That is why he says either karma or shukla. Ashukla means not white, or Krishna means not black. So here it comes that it does not give you any impact. So now the next day you wake up in the morning and your mind is relatively free. It has no thought of repenting. It has no thought of creating an egoism that no, I have done this. You all are seekers. So from your words, you will say, I have not paid you and I have paid you. It does not have any impact on me. See that, see the in depth now. Because if you are not a seeker, you will not understand these. So that is why he kept all these sutras into the fourth chapter. Now let us understand another aspect of in-depth psychology by Patanjali. That is why he is known as father of Eastern psychology. Only basically because of the fourth chapter. Tatah, eighth sutra now. Tatah tat vipak अनुगुणानाम ऐव अभिव्यक्ति वासनानाम. Very beautiful. ततः तद विपाक अनुगुणानाम ऐव अभिव्यक्ति वासनानाम. ततः तद्विपाक अनुगुणानाम ऐव अभिव्यक्ति वासनानाम. What he says. We can translate. Did you understand the previous sutra? Yes. Say yes so that I can continue, even if you did not understand. Where is the problem? so if you have understood this, Now he says in his life only the favorable conditions are produced. Only favorable conditions. So for to create a favorable condition, you have the impressions of those favorable conditions. So the mind that is created attracts the favorable conditions in his life. I leave on your mind. What do you mean by favorable condition? This is the meaning. So he says, uh, from these only those tendencies are expressed for which the conditions are favorable. It is one of the most beautiful, another beautiful understanding of the mind that is undergoing a transformation. Think of it. Think now I wake up in the morning and I have a favorable condition. He is embracing the life and its activities. So let us take another. So now he explains how come you say that it is possible in different conditions of life? So he answers that. He says, what is the relations of cause and effect after separation from class, location, and time? Means what? Think we all are living in Phoenix, and now the Brandy did the practice. She reached to that state. She created the mind that is now not impacted by anything, and all the other minds were devoured by this created mind. So even when she is living with her honey and the family, whatever, I don't know too much about you, but just giving an example. You are living with all of us, no impact. Fine. Everything is fine in your life. So now he is explaining this sutra. Jati desha kal vyavahitanam api anantaryam smriti sanskarayo ekarupatvat. It's a long sutra, but it means what I have just explained. We will go to it. Jati desha kal vyavahitanam api anantaryam smriti sanskarayo ekarupatvat. He was, after all, a Sanskrit master. He also wrote Patanjali also wrote a book on grammar, Sanskrit grammar. So sometimes he shows that, you see that I'm an expert of Sanskrit. So he has given a long sutra. Jati deshakal vyavahita nam api anantaryam smriti sanskarayo ekarupatvat. So he says there is a relation of cause and effect, even though. Now see that he comes out a little deeper. He says now the mind is created. Does not mean that all the past impressions and the vasanas are gone. It is still there. So now two things. Internally, the seeker is totally free, but he is bound by his body, his mind, his intellect, his ego is bound by the cause and effect relationship, even when he is separated from the class. Class means the species, human species, locality in a particular condition, and the time. Why? Because the memory and the impressions are still present. So why he is saying that? It means when I was doing I started the meditation, so I had five subject. Do you remember? Five subjective states and five objective states. I'm not asking you. Simply say remember. Oh, yeah, remember. That's good. So he was talking at the surface level. Now he is talking much deeper, of which we are not aware. And now I am becoming aware. What a beauty of the in-depth understanding. So this is what is the relationship. So if we go to the 10th sutra, 10th sutra, I'm just explaining briefly, because if we go deeper, every sutra should take long time. Tasam anaditvam choashishah nityatvat tasam anaditvam choashishah nityatvat tasam anaditvam choashishah nityatvat. Uh, to make you understand this sutra says we are the seekers of eternity. We don't, who wants to die? Tell me. Out of all of us, no one wants to die. So, from where that desire comes, that I do not want to die. So, desire for being everlasting is coming from the real self, because the real self is eternal. So it passes on that impression to the mind. And now this mind which is created becomes totally aware. Now I know from where it is coming. I am eternal. There is no beginning of a desire to be eternal. No beginning means it is beginningless. What is the meaning of beginningless? The moment I took the birth, it was hidden in the mind. I learned the alphabets, then I know I do not want to die, but it was already there. Got it? I don't remember a biologist who says that there is an evolutionary urge within every living being. Who wants pain in life? Tiger, ant, from the ant to the amoeba to the tiger to the elephant and to the human being. No one wants pain. We all are seekers of permanent happiness. Why? Because that essential nature is present everywhere. So now you see that he is talking he is comprehending these basic fundamental principles of yoga. Hetu phala ashraya, 11th sutra. Hetu phala ashraya alambanai sangrahitatvat esham abhave tadabhava. You see, now he is showing the expertise of Sanskrit grammar also. He gave another good sutra. Hetu phala ashraya alambanai sangrahi tattvat esham abhave tad abhava. Hetu phala ashraya alambanai sangrahitatvat esham abhavai tad abhava. So now what is this? Being bound together as a cause and effect. The substratum means the real self and the object. They disappear on their disappearance. Now, we have to understand a little more about this. What is the cause of suffering? According to Patanjali. Do you remember the second chapter? Avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesha. Abhinivesha, pancha klesha. There are 5 causes of suffering. So avidya is the major cause of the suffering that we understood. Yes. Now, if avidya is not there, then what happens? Even all the vasanas, impressions also leave you. You are awakened. So, now he is giving a clue. You are breaking the cause and effect relationship. So once you break that cause and effect relationship by the regular practice of meditation, the time comes, gone. Bye-bye. So now you, Lara, you are doing karma, but it does not accumulate any impression. See that? But at present, we are listening, it is accumulating the impression. I'm speaking, it is accumulating the impressions. Knowing such a high goal in the journey of yoga, who does not want to practice yoga? Only the crazy one. But he never says anything. He never says anything in the beginning. He says, continue. There are 5 objective states, 5 subjective states. Emptiness of the mind is leads you to the awakening. And then he says, you are not a seeker. Then okay, then do practice Kriya Yoga. It will happen. And okay, you are not eligible to practice Kriya Yoga. Then go to Ashtanga Yoga. So he keeps, he's such a wonderful writer, or you can say he should have been a wonderful teacher also, that he keeps your mind constantly engaged. Why I am Girish? Because I am Girish. Why you are Kate? Because of Kate. Why you are Christina? Because of Christina. So because of Christina, because of Kate, because of Lara is, go back to the 2nd and 3rd sutra. It says that every individual, I have a natural process of evolution and I have an individual process of evolution. So they both go together. So you evolve, combining with the natural process of evolution through your own way. How come? How come? How come? Vivekananda, at the age of 16 years, he got one message from the master, and by the age of 18, he got awakened. So, personal and collective. So, Lara personal plus collective. Collective is the same. Christina personal plus collective. So how much intensity we have based on the vasanas, the previous impressions, we evolve. But it does not mean that if I become an intense seeker, I cannot evolve much faster than usual. This is what is the meaning of The 12th Sutra. Oh, we did not chant it. We did not recite. Atita anagatam swarupatah asti advabhedat dharmanam. Atita anagatam swarupatah asti advabhedat dharmanam. One more time. Atita anagatam swarupata advabhedat dharmanam. That is the essence of it. Many modern authors have explained it differently. The past and the future exist in their own nature, qualities. That is why we have a different ways of, different levels of evolution among all of us. Are you in peace? So everyone says yes except one. So four people says yes, they still have a different level of perception of the peace. So why they have a different level of perception of peace? Because their process of evolution varies from person to person. So what the teacher in the Eastern wisdom has to do, we go together. We don't never say that we can help you. We point out the way. We explain in detail that this is what is happening. So please continue the journey. So now come to our next sutra. What is the next sutra? Yes. Now see, sometime these processes, sometime the qualities, the nature, and the attitude shows that look at this guy, he's evolving faster. You see that? Sometimes we say, forget about yoga. We don't know this guy seems to have an inborn quality. You see that? Sometimes we say that other guys do not have it. So this means that sometimes these qualities are manifest in some people or remain unmanifest. Who knows that Einstein will become a genius? Unmanifest. You see, I can give you a lot of examples. It belongs to the collective, all human beings. Yeah. Who knows that by birth we will be doing this yoga stuff together? We are doing it. So this is what is explained intelligently by Patanjali in the 13th Sutra. Te vyakt sukshma gunatmanah. Te vyakt sukshma gunatmanah. Te vyakt. Vyakt means manifest. Sukshma, unmanifest. Gunatmanah. It is because of the qualities, because of the three gunas. So maybe the Sato guna is more manifest. For example, in John, not in Christina. So when they manifest more, oh, you look at the John. He's a genius. So genius is also hidden in Christina. It is not that it is not hidden there, but they are unmanifest. This is the meaning of this sutra. So you see the way he has examined, he has observed, not only in his life, but in the lives of thousands of the students he taught. And that is why he has written this. Parinam ekatvat vastu tattvam. Verse number 14. I thought better to cover this third sutra because you all are great seekers. Maybe if you forget, you will think again, oh, that beard guy said something very in depth. I have to continue my practice. You will not leave the practice. For that purpose, I thought better to pick up briefly this chapter number 4. Parinamekatvat vastu tattvam. Parinamekatvat vastu tattvam. I have explained you before also, but now this verse is the essence of the object consists in the uniqueness of transformation. You are unique. That is why you are evolving uniquely based on your impressions and the vasanas and the intensity and the qualities of being a seeker you have at hand. Due to on account of the mutation of the three gunas, there is another way to understand. These three gunas are continuously changing. From where the three gunas are come, it is a part of the nature and the prakriti. Part of the nature and prakriti. So these three gunas are working inside in the process of evolution. So I appear as one unit, Lara appears as second unit, John as third. We appear as one unit, but there is a collective working of these three gunas. Can you imagine the deeper insight this Patanjali had? He instantly knew the moment he see all of us, he says, okay. I know why you appear differently. That is the essence. When we go deeper and understand that, then we find out this is the real meaning. Vastu samye chitta bhedat 15th. Vastu samye chitta bhedat tayoh vibhaktah pantha. Beautiful. Vastu samye chitta bhedat tayoh vibhakta pantha. You have practiced meditation with me so many sessions. So sometime your mind says, oh, today's practice is good. Yesterday was not so good. It is because of your impressions. It is not because of me. He is again challenging our own mind. What is good, bad, high, low? It is because I have been uniquely placed in the world for evolution. Object, we all are same. So why I feel the difference? Why I feel the difference? Because of the way I perceive a thing, the knowledge, the practice. And I understand that. So what will happen if I understand that? I'm committed to the journey. There was I forgot his name. There was a great Hatha Yoga and Tantra Yoga master who taught Buddha Hatha Yoga and Tantra Yoga. What he told, you have to sleep on the soil in the forest. I will do it, Buddha said. You have to eat once a week. Yes, sir, I will do it. You have not to see Any beautiful women? No, that was the practice, I'm not joking. That was fact, etc., etc. He did it. There were 5 of his friends who followed strictly what this Tantra master gave him. And one day the Buddha was sitting under a tree. He felt, and after doing all those practices, all those headstand postures, in those days it was also available. Now look at his process of evolution. His mind started reflecting that now I am so calm and relaxed without doing all these austerities. This is it. I need not to go to torture my body. I need not to be fasting for 7 days. I am already reduced to a skeleton. So now I'm translating the previous verse. You get a favorable condition. We studied the sutra just previously that we get a favorable condition. So what happened? A beautiful woman prepared a desert, and that woman offered the desert to the 5 students. They refused. Last one was Buddha. He accepted favorable condition. So that is purely a symbolic way to explain why only the women creates a favorable condition, not a beer guy. So it's basically a symbolism. So we have to understand that. You see that? Why me and John cannot create favorable condition? Why it lies only with the other women? So understand that it's purely a symbolism of pointing to the principle. And you will start sensing and feeling, oh, it is happening. It is happening. I didn't even imagine it. Vastu samme chitta bhedat. No, why? Because if you are a seeker, you will understand and believe it. But if you are not a seeker and you are taught these principles, you will say Patanjali is crazy. So let us pick up the 16th Sutra. Nacha eka chitta tantram vastu tat apramanakam tada kim syat nacha eka chitta tantram vastu tat apramanakam tada kim syat nacha eka chitta tantram vastu tat apramanakam kim tada kim syat. So now if we translate that, we can find do you know how you are going to behave tomorrow at 5 a.m.? Now I'm translating, I'm thinking now again. Do you know that? I don't know. So it is still in the mind, but it is hidden. It is hidden. What is hidden? We know it is potential. It is potential. So now he says, what he says, the object cannot be said to be dependent on a single mind, there being no proof of its existence, it would then become non-existent. We feel as if those impressions are non-existent, but ultimately they manifest in my life. In nutshell, that is the essence. It means, what should I do? I should maintain my awareness. I should continue the practice to allow the mind to enter into the higher and a deeper state. Na cha ek chitta tantram. Mind, there is another meaning many masters evolve. How Lara sees me, or Kate sees me, or Brandy sees me, or John sees me, your perception about one object is totally different, isn't it? Even if you all are listening to me, but there is an individual perception of everyone. So there are two ways this sutra is explained. So maybe in future when we go deeper, I'm already bold with you. I should go into the future. So 17th sutra. so, so tad uparaga apekshitvat chitasya vastu gyata agyatam. Remember the previous two sutras. If you remember, we will translate this one. Tad uparaga upekshitvat chitasya vastu gyata agyatam. Tad uparaga apekshitvat chitasya vastu gyata agyatam. The things are known to the mind or unknown to the mind, dependent on the modification which they give to the mind. Let us understand in a simple way. I see the John. I see the mustaches of John. So thou, John as an object, modify my mind. So I see that modification, and then I know John. Now we are understanding the mind. What a beautiful way. So if I say the person A is crazy, it means that modification is present in my mind. That is why I say the person is crazy. It means I'm more crazy than the person A. Did you understand that? I shifted my explanation from John to person A. Did you understand that? Just, keep in your mind. Maybe it will trigger your mind one day. You will say, no, let me understand deeply. This is what is happening to me. And based on this sutra, my master used to say, I am responsible for my sorrow and I am responsible for my happiness. None else in this world can make me happy or unhappy. I am responsible. You can draw a lot of conclusions based on this sutra, but the way, so if we go and study commentator Vyasa, we get the sense of it. Now see that now he turns the topic instantly in the 18th sutra. Sada gyata chittavratayah tata prabhu purushasya aparinam Ttvata. I'm separating the word. Sada Gyata Chitta Vratiyah Tata Prabhu Purushasya Aparinam Itvata. So it means I know something because of modification of the mind, and I don't know. Clear? Previous sutra. But the Lord of the mind knows everything. Who is the Lord of the mind? Huh? The word is used, Prabhu, the Lord. And who is the Lord of the mind? Can you guess? Real self. Mind may not know. My mind, personalized mind, modified mind, may not know, or I know, but still the Lord of the mind knows everything. Who is the Lord of the mind? The real self. Where lies the real self? Deep inside the heart of every human being. So that is why he uses the word Tat Prabhu, Lord of the mind, Chitta Vrataya, the modification. Huh? And how he gives the Lord of the mind an adjective. He says the one who never changes, who is eternal. He can be only the real self. Because the mind is changing, because I see you. You see that, Christina? The moment you say, I love you, I hate you, it is also a modification in the mind. Can I become aware of this? Look at it, how beautiful the way Patanjali explains everything. Patanjali knows everything, every bit of movement, every thought, every feeling, every expression. That is what he is explaining. So if we go to the 19th Sutra, 19th Sutra, now he is explaining why the mind is not a consciousness. Because it is not conscious, it borrows the consciousness from the real self. That is why it has lot of modifications. It is because of this, we have to say, I am sorry millions of times every day. Why I say I am sorry? Because I did not see what I should have seen it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have not seen what I should have seen. So, in the previous incident, one set of modifications, and then I realized my mistake. I am sorry, Lara. So, another modification has taken place. But that is not the case of the real self. What it shows that the mind is not self-luminous, mind is not self-existent, mind is an instrument of the real self. This is what he says. Natat swabhasam drishyatvat. Natat swabhasam. Swabhasam means self-illuminative properties. Like the sun is self-existent, self-luminous, so the real self is self-luminous, not the mind. Drishyatvat natat swabhasam. Drishyatvat natat swabhasam. Drishyatvat. You should thank me. We are learning Patanjali in a deeper way. No, you should thank Patanjali. Okay, so let us see that in the 20th Sutra. Ek samay cha ubhaya anavadharanam. Ek samay cha ubhaya anavadharanam. Ek samay cha ubhaya anavadharanam. argument. Patanjali argues. What he argues? And that proves that there is a real self and the mind is an instrument of real self. We yoga teachers and experts start trying to rationalize and put our argument in favor of yoga based on the scientific principles. We don't need them. We don't need them if we understand the fourth chapter. I see you, it is clear. So you are an object seen, and I am the seer. Right? Now define the properties of a seer and the see. They are always different. They are always different, the properties of a seer and the see. I see the wall. I know the wall. Properties of a knower, I am, and the wall as a known are different. Clear? But mind is a matter. How can the mind adopt the two properties together? It cannot be a knower. It cannot be either. It can be knower or it can be known. So he has already proved it cannot be a knower. Why? Because it is not self-luminous in the previous sutra. It is not self-existent. So he says mind cannot be both. Hence mind is a matter. Hence mind is a matter. This is what he is. Briefly I'm saying. It is impossible. Ek samaye means at the same time, simultaneously, mind cannot be the knower and the known. So what Patanjali is saying, keep the mind aside. In the previous sutra, who knows everything? The real self. We know bit by bit. So when we say we know bit by bit means what? The mind knows bit by bit. How it knows? Go to the previous sutra. Because of modification. Are you getting some glimpse of the real self? Real self is a witness is sitting inside. All of us enjoying. Saying that yes, you are coming near to me, no worries. In the last sutra, I will be available for you. So you see that is how the Patanjali goes into the fourth chapter. So let us go to the 21st sutra. Chetantar drishye buddhi buddhai ati prasanga smriti shankar cha. He put forth another very serious argument. Chetantar drishye buddhi buddhe ati prasanga smriti shankara cha nitanta drishye buddhi buddhe ati prasanga smriti shankarascha. So there are two ways of saying shankarascha. That is one way of saying, reciting. Other way of reciting is Shankara cha. What he is saying. How do I explain that? If I say my mind perceives my another mind, it will lead to the confusion. Which mind is true? Can I take an example of you, John? Yes, I can take. He's a wonderful guy. So now this is the first statement. Second statement, that he is crazy. The first mind, good guy. Second mind, crazy guy. Which mind is right? Tell me. He says, don't believe this crazy mind. It will put you in trouble. This is the essence. This is the meaning of this sutra. Buddhi buddhi. Cognition of cognition. If I translate that in modern psychology, cognition of cognition. So now the crazy mind says he's a good guy. The good guy mind says he's a crazy guy. To whom one should believe? Come on. Did you understand that? Cognition of cognition. This is the nature of the mind. Patanjali says, can you say goodbye to the mind when you can say emptiness? You have created a new mind. You are deep into the meditation. Now that mind created is full of emptiness. It perceives both. It perceives both. Yeah. I don't believe you are neither crazy nor a good guy. You are only a good human being, evolving human being. Finished. Did you understand the depth of this Eastern psychology? How great I may be through my mind. At one time, I become very small. In India, we say before, you seem to be a very great guy. Yes, let me call your wife and then tell me you are still me. I don't know whether it is common here. Oh, you are the greatest. Okay, let me call your wife. So you see that, you see the anomaly, you see the duality and a conflict that takes place in the mind. So when I realize that, I get rid of all the conflict. When I get rid of the conflict, I am free from the mind. So the message is loud and clear by the Patanjali. Yes, now 27th Sutra, we are still. How knowledge of the real self takes place? Oh, that is, yeah. If I translate into a question, you can even, that is the answer given by Patanjali in the 22nd Sutra. How knowledge of the real self takes place? Where? It takes place in the mind. How? Chittai aprati sankramaya tad akara apattau swabuddhi samvedanam. Chittai aprati sankramaya tad akara apattau swabuddhi samvedanam. Chittai aprati sankramaya. Aprati sankramaya, yes. Tad akara apattau swabuddhi samvedanam. Now emptiness, mind is not there. What is left? Real self. Sun rises in the morning and no object is there. Does the sun does not shine? Shine. So the real self shines through its own consciousness because mind is not there. But mind is there, totally emptiness, as a transparent mirror, totally clean. So you have a reflection of the real self. That reflection of the real self we have studied, I think, or perhaps we have studied. It says witness consciousness. That is known as witness consciousness. Knowledge of its own nature through self-cognition, if I use the word cognition. when consciousness assumes that form in which it does not pass from place to place. If I have a thought in the mind, modification, the real self is constantly reflecting into the mind. So that real self constantly reflecting into the mind, then I have a thought. Thought means modify. Mind is already modified, and mind modified. It goes out into the world. It perceives the scene. I forget the real self. I live in avidya, ignorance. That causes the suffering to me. What a beautiful. Every text is very good. I remember that Yoga Vasishtha sometimes it surpasses, bypasses this Patanjali uh, Yoga Sutra. So more or less, they talk in a different way, but they talk such a deeper way. How mind perceives, how mind perceives. So in the previous sutra, we have studied what we have studied, that I see Lara. Lara modified my mind. That is why I say she is Lara. But now there is another reason he gives. He says, Drashtuhu drashyah uparaktam chettam sarvartham. Sutra number 23. Drashtuhu drashya uparaktam chettam sarvartham. Drashtu drashya uparaktam chettam sarvartham. In a prism, I got an idea to explain this sutra. In a prism, only the white light passes from one side, and you have 7 colors on the other side. Right? So, from the real self here, it passes the consciousness to the mind, but the crazy mind, how the crazy mind sees that there is a Kate, there is a Brandy, there is a John, and there is a Krishna, there is Lara and Brittany and Alex. Our internet. Do you see? Did you understand that? Real self is also colored by the knower. But in fact, we all are one. Not theoretically. Einstein gave a principles of theoretical physics. We don't have a theoretical yoga. It is all practical yoga. They are not theoretical yoga or practical yoga. Yoga is yoga. It blows our mind. So 24th Sutra, let it blow. So let us go to the 24th Sutra. What are the limitations that life suffers? Now he goes back again. It is because of the mind. It's a long sutra. Tad asankheya vasanabhi chettam api parartham sanhyatkaritvat. I will break up that again. Tad asankheya vasanabhi chettam api parartham sanghat karitvat. Tad asankheya vasanabhi chettam api parartham sanghat karitvat. Did you understand the previous couple of the sutras? Say yes, even if you don't. What difference it makes? No, no, kid, we have to complete the course. so, so, so we have to complete. So what he says now, if you link a couple of those sutras, what he says, through innumerable vasanas, desires in the mind, that acts for, that created a veil before the real self, is the basic problem. Through having countless desires, the mind stuff exists for the sake of another, because it acts only in association with it. You have to understand again in a different way. Desire, seeker, practice of meditation, any activity of the body, mind, intellect, and ego happens only in the presence of the real self. Without the presence of the real self, nothing can happen. But if the mind lives in impurity, if the mind lives in ignorance, then it has billions and billions of desires. So he says, Patanjali says, you can say that in the presence of the real self, behind the veil, you have innumerable desires working. Understand that real self, the way. So not you, Lara, and you, Kate, but I was working in a institution. So they sat 3 months course. 3 months course, 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. So 40 multiplied by 12 weeks. 480 hours of training. Residential. And they used to say you have to complete everything. I said, okay, I will complete. I know how to complete. That is what I'm doing. The task entrusted by Kate and Lara. So, 25th Sutra. so, Visheshadarshinaha Atmabhava Bhavana Vinivrati. Vinivrati, yeah. Vinivrati, same thing. Visheshadarshinaha Atmabhava Bhavana Vinivrati. Visheshadarshinaha Atmabhava Bhavana Vinivrati.
It's 3:30 p.m. Let's go grab a glass of water. And why don't you go wash your hands?
I'm okay, my hands are clean.
It's your real self.
It's my real self. Yes. You see that? It's another beautiful verse. It says, for one who has realized the real self, vinivrati, the cessation of desire, I think the best explanation will be, now when you reach to the deeper meditation, now you have a clear distinction. Here is the mind and here is the real self. You have a clear distinction. You separate it. You live in that separation. I was trying to find the best essence of it rather than actual translation. So the person who is a seeker ceases to regard the mind and the real self are one and the same. Think of John. One John is real self and other John is mind. So you have a clear cognition, clear understanding. I'm just Vishesh Darshina, that is actually the essence of it. And Atma Bhava, Bhavana, Vinivratihi. So Vinivrati means a complete cessation. So you cannot allow the real self to a complete cessation. It cannot be done by the mind. So it refers to the mind. So that is the meaning. Now you are totally, there is a clear awareness. Here is the mind and here is the real self. Done. What is the meaning? Meditation. Let us go to the 26th. How a seeker struggles. Now we have, now Patanjali is explaining, no worries. Don't get disheartened. Continue the practice. Even if you fail. Oh, you're pointing to Grace. Good. Don't get upset. Continue the practice. So, what are the struggles we normally face at a higher level? This is what he says. Where he says, Tadahi Vivekanimnam Kevalya Pragbharam Chittam Tada Vivek Nimnam Kevalya Prarambha Bharam Chittam Tada Vivekanimnam Tadahi Vivekanimnam Kevalya Pragbharam Chittam. So you are doing your practices. You have reached to a state where the mind is constantly moving within, living within, doing the practice because of discernment. So, what the Sutra says, the mind totally inclines towards discerning knowledge. So, when it lives with the discernment, it is constantly moving towards the state of awakening. State of awakening, Kevalya. So he uses the word, Patanjali uses the word for awakening, Kevalyam. Kevalya Pragbharam Chittam. So first condition, he says, that you are a great seeker. You have now great seeker means that everything is happening inside. You are fully aware of that. So 26. Now, if we pick up 27 Sutra, it gives us little. The in yes, that makes a sense. Tadde tachidreshu pratyayantarani संस्कारेभ्य तच्छिद्रेषु प्रत्यांतराणि संस्कारेभ्य तच्छिद्रेषु प्रत्यांतराणि संस्कारेभ्य. Today you practiced meditation. Tomorrow you failed. Day after you succeed. Again you fail. We fail because in the mind, from the deep impressions, they rise and fall. Tachidreshu. So the word tachidreshu is used. There is a break of continuity, of peace, or the experience in the meditation. Don't worry. Don't worry, it happens because of the impressions. It's not happening because of you. Continue the journey. Now Christina is hopeful. Continue the journey. So when you continue the journey, why, John and Lara, you keep looking at Krishna again and again? So the interval is definitely there because no one succeeds in the journey in one go. It is natural. All our past impressions has to go. We created billions of impressions. So there is a break due to the impressions that enters in the journey of a life of a seeker. So what he says, so he uses a different force of sanskaras, the force, the power of the past impression, from the force of impressions of the past. It will happen. It is natural. Let it happen. So you are doing the practice again and again. You see, now, give you one example that will help you. You know, all goes without video except you guys. So you don't give me a liberty even to grab a glass of water. So I will grab a glass of water after this. So you see that now today you succeed. Yesterday you did not succeed. So alternate. Success, no success. Success, no success. Success, no success. Right? Now you continue this practice. So what will happen now? Success, success. Third day, failure. Success, success, 2 days success, 1 day failure. Now the intensity, the frequency of the success has increased because of continuity. Now what will happen if you continue the practice? 3 days success, 4th day failure. Again 3 days success, 4th day failure. So now the frequency of those impressions have minimized. Do you see? Frequency of those failures have minimized. Initially, you are getting a failure on alternate days. Now you are getting a failure on 2 days after. Now you are getting a failure after 3 days. So why you pay attention to the failure? You are succeeding. You are succeeding. This is the meaning of the sutra. Look at the very subtle way to understand, the way Patanjali helps us to understand. So would you guys and girls allows me to grab a glass of water? You have a liberty, so you close your video and then you go there and everywhere. So I don't have a liberty.
20 degrees outside. Then go grab water.
I'll grab a glass of water and then I will come back. I will not waste your time. Don't worry. Oh.
Biology break.
Yes, I came less than a minute here. So, so if we pick up the 28th Sutra, Hanamesham Kleshavat Uk uktam hanamesham kleshavat uktam hanamesham kleshavat uktam. So I have already explained this sutra before. Continuity of the practice. Shraddha, do you remember? Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak, Itaresham, the 5 qualities of a seeker. You continue with that. Here it applies. So when you continue with that, so what Hanam, do you still remember the 4H? Heya, Hetu, Han, Hanopaya. Huh? But like the 4 noble truths of Buddhism, what is suffering, cause of suffering, absence of suffering. So for absence of suffering, we use the word Hanam. Hanam. So it also means removal. Removal of what? What we studied in the previous sutra. Those impressions, they may come. They will tell you you failed, but continue the practice. Continue. Then, like klesha you have removed from your life, these impressions will also be removed. Huh? But not like, we have 10 plus 2 system and then 4 years of college, bachelor's. No, you have to continue the practice. Continue. You don't know how many sanskaras we have. It is unknown. It is unknown, and journey is also to the unknown that is yet to be known. Continue the practice. This is a very beautiful sutra. I used to take a lot of time on this sutra because it explains you how to prevent the emergence of those sanskaras again and again into your mind. You see, you are angry over me today. That anger lasts for a couple of sessions if we are meeting again and again. Are you clear? How you can get rid of once and for all. This is what the sutra says, but it is a long journey. We will do sometime. 29th. Now, did you understand the sanskaras? We talked about frequency of failure is minimized. What is the secret behind it? So that we don't have a failure even once. That is explained in the sutra number 29. Look at it, the way. Can you see the genius of practical yoga by Patanjali, not a theoretical physics by Einstein? I'm comparing. I need to compare to make you aware of the genius of Patanjali. Prasankhyani api akusi dasya sarvatha vivek khyatahi samadhi dharma megha samadhi. He is explaining the highest meditation or highest samadhi. Highest. Prasankhyane api akusi dasya sarvatha viveka khyatai dharma megha samadhi. So he is naming this samadhi, this meditation, as dharma megh. Prasankhyane api akusidasya sarvatha vivekakyatai dharmamegha samadhi. I think in the first chapter we have studied that a seeker who has attained the highest level of dispassion, the goal is very near. Dispassion, the word is used vairagya, vivek khyate. So when you have vairagya, when you have dispassion, you reach to the optimum state of discernment. What is that discernment? That discernment is of real from the unreal. So that discernment is totally settled in my mind. What is that? Real and the unreal is 100% settled. Like my house and neighbor's house is 100% settled in your mind. Will you ever go to the neighbor's house and claim that this is my house? So, in one way to understand this is vivek khyatahi. Vivek khyatahi means discernment is complete. Highest level of discernment. So when you have the optimum or the highest level of discernment, you settle into the highest samadhi or meditation that awakens you to the knowledge of the reality. What is the meaning? Go to the basics. What is the basic? Now see, what is the basic? So first we have a basic understanding of yoga. What is the very first principle that continues in all the 4 chapters in the entire journey of yoga? Do I have a clarity that what is real and what is unreal? If I don't have a clarity of what is real and unreal, nothing will happen. Tasya vachakah pranavah. Do you remember? Before that, klesha karma vipak ashaye paramrishtah purusa vishesha ishwarah. What we are searching? We are searching that real self which is beyond the law of cause and effect, which is beyond the fruits of an action and also from the suffering. We are searching that reality. So once that is settled in my intellect 24 by 7, this is then comes how that is settled according to Patanjali. Am I a seeker? So what are the characteristics of a seeker? Characteristics of a seeker we studied is Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak Itaresham. So what I have to do with these 5 qualities? Abhyas Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha. What is the practice? Practice contains 2 steps. Do you remember? Practice with dispassion or with wisdom. So means there also the power of discernment. If I do not practice yoga with the power of discernment, nothing will happen. So, from the very first chapter, that power of discernment continues. Now, there is a relationship between discernment and dispassion. You simply focus on the power of discernment. The dispassion will come on its own. So, when you reach to the highest level of discernment, now see that why the mind has a thought. I think, did you attend the session last session? It came to me my just out of the blue. Why the mind has all these thoughts coming and going? Because the mind is acting like a salesman. Mind says, I know where the peace is, where the happiness is. So that is why the mind constantly bombards the thought into your mind. Once you know that the mind is acting like a salesman, I have to say no. It happens. Sometimes it doesn't. It happen that someone knocks the door. He's a sales guy. You open it. You see what he's doing. Thank you very much. I don't want. Can you say no to the mind for anything and everything that it brings to me? We reach to the highest level of discernment. This is what he is explaining. Vivek khyatahi. So you see, he starts with practice plus discernment. So you are continuously doing the practice. You have minimized the occurrence of failures, but you have also reached to the highest level of discernment. It leads to the highest level of meditation that awakens you to the knowledge of reality. Knowledge of reality. There is something, I would say, there is some little difference, but not too much of difference between uh, the four more sutras. Tataha, those who have gone somewhere, they should come out. Now you will be free from all the suffering. So, so tataha klesha karma nivrati. What is beautiful? Tataha klesha karma nivrati. Tataha klesha karma nivrati. What he says? Is he crazy? Patanjali crazy. He says we get freedom from the karma and the suffering. Now we have a total freedom from the klesha. That sometimes makes a sense. What about karma? Life without karma not possible. You are listening to me. Say, for example, no, why example? Believe that you all are awakened. Are you listening to me? Yes, that is karma. But he says freedom from not only suffering, klesha, but freedom from karma. Oh, that would be a good idea. On Sunday, I will summarize the karma yoga. Then you will understand what do you mean by freedom from karma. That will make a sense from the Gita, not from the Patanjali. What he says, now you are living in the state of inaction. Did you understand that? Inaction, in action. Action, in inaction. Inaction, in action. That is the secret of the third chapter of Gita. Means what? You are speaking, but you don't experience that you are a speaker. You are a listener, But it appears you are a listener outside, but internally you are not a listener. Why? Who creates the doer and the enjoyer? Mind. So the mind is not there, it directly goes to the real self. Freedom from klesha, suffering. What are the 5 suffering? Do you remember? Avidya, smita, raga, dvesh, avinivesh, pancha klesha. So where there are no klesha, there is no karma at all. You are free from the law of karma. Finish. So he put it, John, you are from today, you are finished. Finished means you are free from klesha and karma. You are not doing any karma. That follows. Tataha. Tataha means that follows. So what is the previous sutra? I have achieved the highest meditation. What is that highest meditation? Dharma megha samadhi. So what is that dharmic samadhi? You have achieved the highest state of discernment. That follows the that follows naturally the dispassion. That is why the Buddha, you guys and girls say Buddha. So Buddha means old guy in Sanskrit. Buddha means really the Buddha awakened. But anyhow, it's good. So Buddha ran to his 5 friends. He said, I have found the truth. Leave this tantra and the Hatha Yoga master who is torturing you. Listen to me. That became one of the first messages of Buddha. Because he found that sense of freedom. So he said, no, let me take care of my 5 friends against the torture of the teacher. Sometimes teacher also tortures, Am I? So, so, so you see that another sutra. You see that your mind take your laughing with a different meaning. That mind is crazy. That is what he is explained. You may have 2 different modifications. Oh, you all are laughing. It means I'm torturing you. Come on. Why should my mind feel like this? Let it enjoy. So that mind should be anyhow. It's a long sutra. Tada sarva avaran mantra apetasya jnanasya anantyat geyam alpam. What a beautiful sutra again. Tada sarva avaran mal apetasya jnanasya anantyat geyam alpam. Sometimes I miss one word between, so I go back again. Tada sarva avaran. We can break up. Mal apetasya jnanasya anantyat geyam alpam. Let me give you a perspective of this sutra rather than simply translating into English. Suppose you are awakened. Why should I suppose you all are awakened, living into that state? But the very living into that state is caused by the past impression. The body comes with the past impressions. It is the cause of the past impressions. So you are awakened and still you are living into this body because of the past impressions. Clear? But those impressions are not affecting you at all. Why? Because you are awakened. Now compare the state of ignorance where there was 99.999% ignorance, suffering, and 1% the real self appears as 1%. Your mind tells, oh, because you told me, that's why I believe that there is a real self. But that is 0.0001% when I live in ignorance. But when I am awakened to the real self, that is 100%, and I see those impressions which pulls my body, mind to live because of the previous birth is hardly 1%. Those impressions live 0.0001%. Did you get it? No. Yes. The proportion of suffering is huge in case of ignorance of my real nature. Proportion of these impressions which causes the suffering is negligible because I'm already awakened. So what is the message? Message is that this body will continue until it will exhaust all the karma and the impressions from the previous birth. So Vivekananda lived only for 37 years. He contributed more than 200 books full of energy. So his impressions exhausted so that he left the body. My master left the body at the age of 91. So what is the message? Don't create a misinformation. Don't live in ignorance that he is awakened. He would live for 200 years. It is based on his karma, his sanskaras, that he got from the previous birth. Got it? Understood it? No? Yes? If no, I can give another. So that is the understanding that this is what happens. So it now concluded. When you are awakened, you become one with the entire existence. Now that very existence takes care of you. I did not do it, my master did it. So when you reach to that state, then you leave your entire life on the real self, whether you say on the God or the supreme existence. And this happens. I've seen many people in life. So when my master reached to that state, there are two parts. First part, that you do your sadhana practices, you reach to that state. Now to check whether I have reached to that state, that journey is known as parivrajak. What that means? You leave everything on the existence. Why? Existence takes care of you. Why? The existence is nothing but the manifestation of real self. Did you understand the last sentence? Existence, this, the world of appearance, depends on the real self. It is not the other way around. Did you understand that? Now you check whether you have reached to that state of dharmic samadhi or not. So how my masters checked. How did I know? There are people of his age and who are still living. So it's a little tough. There are many ways people do it, but this is one of the many ways. Do you think that if you sit in a cemetery or a cremation ground, will anyone come to you to give you a food? No chance. So he used to sit in a cremation ground. You check the existence. First, the existence challenged you, you did the practice, you reached to that state. Now you check, you challenge the existence. Well, if my sanskaras are there that is helping me to live with this body, let me leave this body. So he used to stay in a cremation ground where the body is burned, and every time it happened that someone came and brought a food for him. You live in a forest, you live in extreme condition in the Himalayas, where 10 feet snow is there. You say, okay, existence, take my life. But you are bound by the previous sanskaras. You have to keep that body based on the calculation. So existence takes care of you. It creates those favorable conditions to live. So this is the beauty of this journey. That is why we say, sometimes, I did a lot of hard work and nobody is, appreciating my hard work. It comes because of the previous sanskaras. Continue doing it. Continue doing the good so that you can create a favorable conditions in your life. It may take the entire life. It may not take the entire life. Tell me, I love him. That's why I'm saying, because now I'm saying in a very strong tone. Do you believe it is only the Bill Gates is responsible to become the richest person? Or there are other factors? There are favorable conditions that he created in his previous life. Contribution of that is 80% and 20% is his hard work in this life. Krishna, don't start thinking, should I always criticize my friend? Do you see that? So, now another factor comes, that is another topic, but I will take a bit of time. So, Gita, we say we have 5 factors. I'm not talking of the 4 factors. The way I live with whatever the wisdom you have and I have. The 5th factor is the most important factor. So whether you see that 5th factor is the destiny or the God or the existence, whatever you want to name. First part. Second part, the Gita explains that this destiny cannot be realized without your hard work in this. You have to exhaust all the karmas. So I have to do the karma, but I have to perform the karma as a karma yoga. Then only I'll be able to realize. It is not that, I love you, then after a few months I hate you. This is not karma yoga. Maybe it may be a karma yoga for a lot of people. I think I should better keep a period here. Let us go to the 32nd sutra. Another beautiful. This is what happens. The highest existence. When I told you about my master, I remembered the 32nd sutra first. Tatah kratarthanam parinam kram samaptihi gunanam. What a beautiful sutra. Tatah kratarthanam parinam kram samaptihi gunanam. Tatah kratarthanam parinam kram samaptihi gunanam. Until now, the master was saying that this entire world is a play of the three gunas, isn't it? But now I have reached to the highest state of meditation. These three gunas do not affect me at all. I have transcended the gunas. Finish. The three gunas having fulfilled their object. The goal of three gunas working in me and you is to help me treat the path of evolution to reach to the highest state of meditation. So when I am already awakened to my real self, for me, the gunas do not work. For Buddha, for me, I'm citing an example. For you, when you reach to that highest state, the guna doesn't work for you. Guna cannot affect you. Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Even if you are angry, because that anger comes from the Prakriti. Prakriti controls the three gunas. You are not a Prakriti, you are a Purusha. You are a real self. These gunas are play of the not real self. So that anger is just an expression of getting the things done. Your karma is being exhausted. John is saying, I'm already there. You are explaining me now. You see that? No, I love John. So, do you see that? Just imagine, think of it. The body is moving, you are speaking, you are giving a lesson, but internally, as if you do not belong to this world. Because you are talking, you still belong to the world, and still you are not. Can you imagine our great masters lived into that state of awakening, enlightenment? This is what Patanjali is narrating in a very simple but in-depth psychological principles. So now see, Chana Pratiyogi, 33rd Sutra. Chana Pratiyogi Parinama Aparanta Nigrahya Krama. Another Chana Pratiyogi Parinama Nigrahya Krama. Chana Pratiyogi Parinama Aparanta Nigrahya Krama. Nigrahya Krama. Nigrahya Krama. So if we translate this, it means the process corresponding to moments which take it in a simple way. When you reach to that state when these three gunas do not have any effect on you, the real you, that is the ultimate transformation. You are there. That is how I gave an example of the master. The master, not only I told you, he used to live in a cremation ground. He used to put himself into a unknown place. I remember that my master one day disappeared from the monastery. And we found him at the height of 15,000 feet in the woods. We just left it without telling any one of us. Does he have any responsibility towards us? No. No responsibility. And then we went there, we pleaded him, please come down, help us, because you are, no, I'm not helping anyone. So there were 200 students, we pleaded, and ultimately he came down. So I'm telling you to encounter with those masters. There are many masters, they do like this. They do not belong to this world, still living in this world. That is the masters. U.G. Krishnamurti, I encountered another master. I lived with him a couple of months. You might study him on the Google. He has, even though he has written a couple of books, and in the front of the book he says you can misuse what I have written, you can use it, you can claim the copyright, etc., etc. Do whatever you want to do. I don't have any copyright because nothing belongs to me. It is a part of the world. And I'm not the part of the world. I'm pure existence. I'm absolute consciousness, bliss. I am means John. So I went to him and I had an obsession of kundalini. Quite young. Maybe around 27, 28. We all have a fascination. Oh, kundalini, great power. Once you awaken, do this. You open the lotus, yellow color, red color, blue color, black color lotus. So do you know the Baba, the word Baba in English? So after a couple of sessions, I discussed and argued with him, no, Master, you teach me Kundalini. So he changed my name from Girish to Kundalini Baba. So every time I used to go him, oh, hey, Kundalini Baba has come. How many lotus you have on the forehead? He virtually used to make fun of me, but I never left going to him. You can understand that he, in a modern language, in a social terms, you can use the word humiliation, insult, etc., etc. It is a very small words. I said, I'm not going to leave you. You have awakened your Kundalini, so you have to awaken my Kundalini also. You get that passionate, you get that passion. So I have those passion. So then I thought better to live with him 24/7. That how he walks, how he lives, how he speaks, what he eats. So there are certain changes, unique changes takes place in every enlightened people. So I had a contrast. I was going to my master and I was going to this guy. He was purely traditional. He has rejected all the authority. It gives a contrast and it gives you a better, deeper understanding. Half a cup of rice, coffee cup, 5 or 6 teaspoonful of cream mixed with the water, that was his food for 24 hours. And in the evening, he has a cup of coffee. And we used to eat all the stuff before him. 2 times, 3 times. So then my mind turned. I said, Yuji, how come you don't get a saliva in your mouth? I was always a teaser. And he always used to give a perfect answer. I don't feel that instinct has gone. Eating food, the instinct of eating the food has gone. I don't feel any saliva in my tongue. Why? That very need of the food in the body is minimal. I don't feel like that. I think I told you, fan was running. I said, how Yuji perceives the fan is running. Does he perceive the same way I see it? The fan, I hear the noise. The instant answer that he sees the fan running through the eyes, which is separate from the noise it is making. His consciousness is so deep. Can't you believe that he is awakened? There is no reason not to believe so. Not to believe so. And I also saw him only 2 pairs of clothes. 2 pairs of clothes, 1 towel. Anywhere. Even he visited US many a times for a talk and interviews. He said, you can take my interview, I will talk, but I will not share a platform. Nobody can become a teacher. He used to say, teacher is all bullshit. He used the word. Nobody can become a teacher. You are your own teacher. And he used to shout. I always loved his shouting. That gave me a new insight. Kundalini Baba. Now look at this Kundalini Baba. I'm telling you. It was a good journey. Now I look back into that life. I see, yes, his contribution is immense. Especially giving a logical interpretation of these sutras. He was extremely logical, 100%. What is enlightenment? I can see the body chemistry has changed. My food intake is minimized. I don't feel any kind of a suffering. That much is there. You guys talk about enlightenment, go on talking. It is all rubbish. It is his words. I'm not talking it's not my words. And we see him totally poised. If he sits down anywhere, he sits for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Then he used to ask us, did I give it? Did you watch the interview? My interview went very well? Joking. Not at all concerned. So, so we see those. Let us pick up the last. It is always better. That's why I took up the 4th chapter. This is the last verse. We have completed Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Whether we have left anything in between. So now he gives the definition of Kaivalyam. What is awakening? What is enlightenment? You need not to study that, but still let us understand that. Purushartha sunyanam gunanam pratiprasavah Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtha Vachiti Shakti Riti. It should be Chiti Shakti Iti. Or when we say Chiti Shakti Riti, then we do it together. So let us do it again. Purusharth Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasava Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtha Va Chiti Shakti Riti. I should understand every word of it. Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasava Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtha Vachiti Shakti Iti. So first I spoke Chiti Shakti Riti. So when we stress on Chiti Shakti, then instead of Riti, it becomes Iti. So it's a Sanskrit grammar. Leave that grammar. I also don't know too much. So now he says, what is this awakened state? You see the beauty, not many masters dare to define what is enlightenment. Take Buddha, for example. You go into emptiness. Finished. Then you will find your own path. But Patanjali said, I will do it. So he did it. So first understand the meaning of the words that will make a sense. There is a word prati prasav. So there is a pregnancy, and just opposite of pregnancy is known as prati prasav. Or you can say reabsorption, re-emergence. That is the first word. Purusharth, aim of Purusha. Where is Purusha? Shunyanam, devoid, or you can say emptiness. Emptiness of what? Buddha simply said emptiness. We say emptiness of all the three gunas that we have already studied before. Three gunas are not affecting me. Pratiprasav, Kaivalyam, that is awakened state, enlightenment. Kaivalya is the state of enlightenment following the merging of the gunas. Why the merging of the gunas? Just to give you a clue, these gunas cannot be seen directly. These gunas are seen with reference to an object and their symptoms. Can you think what should be the guna at this time when I'm speaking to you? You see me that I'm happy and I'm speaking to you. Obviously, Sato guna is there. But if you feel that you are tolerating me, then you are in Tamoguna. So these gunas are not seen outwardly, but they are through the symptoms we understand. So having understood that, what he says, enlightenment, Kaivalya, is a state transcending the gunas. Why? Because there are no objects. Why there are no objects? There is a total emptiness. Why there is a total emptiness? Heightened state of what? Do you remember? Purushakhyatai, the highest level of discernment. Now, highest level of discernment that leads to dispassion. So, what is left? Only Purusha. What is that Purusha? Real self is left. What is real self? Pure consciousness. What is pure consciousness? It is Sat Chit Ananda. That is the state of, that is the state of enlightenment. So he explains sadharana, he explains samadhi, he explained that what exactly is happening inside you when you are practicing meditation, much at a deeper level, not only at a level of the thoughts. We are happy with today I felt totally empty, the next day totally full, third day totally crazy. That is why Gita says equanimity is yoga. Samattum yoguchyate is the mind totally away, indifferent. You see that? Do you remember those? So when we remember all these sutras clearly, means basic principles are clear. Failure, tomorrow I will succeed. It happens because of the three gunas, not because of me. I continue the journey. I do not leave the journey in the middle. If you leave, you are a, what do we say? Loser. You have to be a winner. You have to be a winner. Every time your mind says, today I failed, tomorrow I will definitely succeed. Mind, you are playing with the three gunas. I know it. Don't make me fool. Don't make me fool. I will do it tomorrow. That kind of commitment is required. Oh, it has been 40 years and maybe another 10, 20, 30 years of commitment will continue. That commitment is required. You don't count your age. You don't count your, what we say? You don't count your, what is happening in your outer life. You are suffering in your outer life. That is a good opportunity. Convert that problem into an opportunity. That is what yoga says. Are you a yoga seeker, yoga practitioner? Convert. Finish. This is the message of the yoga and the Patanjali. Never be ever. People, problems will come and go. Real self will remain as it is. Honey will come and go. You will remain as it is. No, I'm just giving an example. I did not mean anything. What a big deal. We make even dog our honey. So honey means any object, any person, you know. So you just keep looking at it. The message of yoga is that continue the journey. You are in extreme pain, you are in suffering. They are because of identification of the real self with the non-self. That is why I am suffering. Not because honey has left me. Because I lived loveless life or loveful life. Whether you are living a loveful life or loveless life, in both the cases you are identifying with something outside. You are bound to suffer. But it does not mean that you go to your honey and you say that it is done. Now I'm a yoga seeker. You see, we have a lot of misconception. Don't go into that misconception, otherwise they will chase me. Who taught you? I love you, honey. So you see, don't do that. Don't do that. So it is inner change in attitude, inner change, inner. Inside, I have to change this mind. Why? The mind is the cause of suffering, and uh, mind is the cause of silence and the peace and happiness. So we also studied in the second chapter, we studied about how to minimize the suffering. So what happens? The more internally you go far from the not self through the power of discernment and the practice, you are minimizing the suffering in your life. It does not depend on how much money you have. It does not matter how deeper the relationship you have with your honey or how strained the relationship with your honey. The mind changes that perception completely. It changes the perception toward and its relationship with the world outside. That is why in the second chapter, the master says, Te prati prasavheya sukshma. Example, I fought with the John. Example. So I created some impression and he created some impression. Now he is a seeker. He does the practice. He contemplates what causes me to have a fight and a reaction. So that awakens in him the power of discernment. He continues. He continues. The next day he comes and he hugs me. I am still suffering. He is enjoying. That is the practice. This is the real practice. Now, I don't practice the power of discernment. I'm closing my eyes. Meditation. So I'm doing meditation and the picture of John comes to my mind. Because I had differences with him yesterday. How is that practice successful? This is what the Patanjali is teaching us. That is what, you see. What he says, active modifications are to be transcended by the practice of meditation. In the second chapter, possibly 10th or 11th sutra is there. Active modifications. What is active modification? I like you, I am attached to you. Example. I like Lara. Example. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. But this is, in context of the sutra, this is example. Okay. She nodded her head, so gave me permission. So I like you. So there is a sense of attachment. One option. I don't like her. There is a sense of detachment. So likes and dislikes, these are active modifications that I experience in my mind. The moment we have these active modifications, I must practice meditation. But before meditation, I must practice discernment, viveka. I constantly contemplate, okay, why I like Lara, why I dislike Lara. So, okay, does the liking has any degree? Does the disliking has any degree? No, 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 no. Mind says you are crazy because of your likes and dislikes. Drop it. Practice meditation. Active modifications are gone. Can we adopt that way of life every day? Then journey is not too far. Someday, definitely, we will fail. But it does not mean that the frequency of a failure. Now go to the fourth chapter. Did you understand that frequency of failure goes on decreasing? You succeed 7 consecutive days. 8th day, you have one small issue. You say, I will commit. And ultimately, that goes away. Yeah, I see, it is 11th sutra. The active modifications can be transcended by meditation. I will not leave you until the time is up. So, second chapter, the sutra number 12. That is also important. Pick up the couple of the sutras because I wish to dwell deeply into the karma yoga on Sunday. Whatever the time Lara gives me. So, you'll see that the 12th sutra of chapter 2nd, that makes you clear. One is karma, other is klesha. So if klesha is not there, klesha means 5. Do you understand? Do you remember? Avidya, smita, rag, dvesha, abhinivesh, klesha. That is explained in the chapter 2nd. So now he says that we have a reservoir of karma, but it cannot be activated without klesha present in it. Clear? Clear? So what it means? It means that if your mind says you cheated me, you are wrong. It is because of klesha and karma present in you. How anyone can cheat you? How anyone can give you the pleasure? It is your karma and klesha. It is your karma and klesha. What a beautiful principle he underlines. I feel upset, example, for because of it is my responsibility. So I am not aware, I am not a seeker. So I don't recognize the cause of the klesha inside me. That is why my mind builds a castle in the air when I go to, for example, Lara will give all the respect and praise and all appreciation, but I don't get it. So who is responsible for problem? I created my own problem. No, I'm just giving an example. Why should I create problem to myself? Karma, klesha. Klesha means ego. Ego is seeking appreciation. And why it has come? Because it aligned with the karma. So I'm picking up 13 and 14 sutra, then we will bring an end. So it is a simple, I would say it is a loose explanation, but that will convey the masses.
Time to start wrapping up your workday and plan for dinner.
So the 13th sutra gives you another clue that I went to Brandy and then I felt totally painful. Why? Now, I'm just explaining. It is an example. So what he says, Sati mule tadvipako jati ayu bhoga. Where I am born, by which parents I am born, one thing, the class I am born, that is the meaning of the human species. The length of the life I live and the experiences that I gain in my life depends on what is the root of it? The root is klesha and the karma. So I need to get exhausting these karmas. I feel bad. Mind, you feel bad? Crush your mind. You have to feel good. Internally, you have to feel good. Thank you, honey, you are leaving me. I appreciate you. Ultimately, you don't find any other alternative. Bye bye, thank you. Live your life fully. Live your life fully. You already know that, honey, I'm using for different objects, people, things, and surrounding. So anything, sometime we lose, sometime we get. So Gita says equanimity. So that is how I exhaust my karma that I brought from the previous life. So I'm a yoga seeker. That is how I exhaust my karma. I exhaust my karma in a peaceful, in a happy manner. I'll take up another sutra, the 14th one. Now he says, I feel pain or pleasure, sorrow and happiness because of this karma and the klesha. Why should I worry? That is the exact meaning. Why should I worry? Sometimes success will come, sometimes failure will come, sometimes you will appreciate me, sometimes you will definitely do not appreciate me. Let it happen. It is a part of the nature. Sometimes we have tsunami. Sometimes we have a beautiful beach in California. Where, Krishna, you are there. When the moment I say there is a day, there is bound to be night. Otherwise, there is no way to say day. The moment you say pleasure, it will definitely return to pain. No, everything is okay about my honey, but this causes the problem. So you have already a pain. In the beginning, I'm totally obsessed in relationship. That's why I don't see anything. Go back to the Sutra. Patanjali says, mind perceives only one aspect. Other aspect remains ignorant. So why should I curse my honey? I should continue to say, honey, I love you. Whether you leave me or love me, I will. What do I mean? Unattached, unaffected. This is the way you should. This is what a clue about this passion. This is a clue about this passion. So you see the relationship between the second and the fourth chapter. Now see the 15th sutra. What is the first practice? Discernment. Again, you have to start thinking. Don't be a non-thinker when you are a yoga seeker, when you are a seeker in the path of yoga. Patanjali says, who has developed power of discernment, where he says, vivekinaha, all is misery on account of pain resulting from the change. Understand this sutra. So what he is saying, I have a pain, you are responsible for it. You are wrong. You start thinking internally. Get the power of discernment. So power of discernment says this pain and this sorrow is because of change happening outside. First reason, on account of change. Second reason, on account of anxiety. You are suffering. You are responsible. You are anxiousness. Why you are in anxiety? That person will give me happiness. Mind is agitated. And third reason, because of your previous impressions. Like I told you the story that American married 10 times, went to a psychiatrist who is responsible. Psychiatrist said, you are responsible. But at least he was lucky. He married 10 times. But according to yoga, he is not happy. He did not have a power of discernment in the first marriage. That is why he married 9 times. You see the perspective when you think from the yoga way or you think from the worldly way. From the worldly perspective, the guy, if this guy is narrating his experience to a guy who is already seeking pleasure, oh, you married 10 times. What a beautiful life you lived. But to a yoga seeker who says this guy is crazy, why he didn't realize his mistake in the first marriage? Do you see the perspective? I have to be a thinker. If I do not think, nothing happens in yoga. So first thinker, then I create a wealth of discernment in the intellect, then I practice, and this practice brings the result. Go to the next sutra. Let me see which sutra it is. Briefly. Yeah. Did I explain you? Here, hetu. Here, hetu. Han, hanopaya. I gave you 4H, 4 noble truth. That is how we explain. Suffering, cause of suffering is hetu. Heyam, suffering. Heyam dukham anagatam. Did you understand? Did you live with the power of discernment? Are you practicing? You are avoiding the future miseries in your life. What you can do, what you have already suffered in the past. The more you dig, the more the problems you have. So we are not into the profession of a psychotherapist. Every day you go to psychotherapist. Oh, you had depression? Why? Because my honey cheated me. So can you tell me the story again? They will always ask you to tell me the same story again and again, as if they are enjoying your story. We don't enjoy. No, I'm not saying that is why they became psychotherapists. No, I'm not saying that. Disclaimer. Now, I used to work with many psychotherapists and psychiatrists in India. So they say, no, we have to dig deep down. We have to, what is repressed must come out. Come on. How many times it is repressed? I had little knowledge, not, I'm just saying. Heyam dukham anagatam. Peace and happiness is your essential nature. Let me start. No, I'm suffering. No, but peace is inside you. I will stress as many times as possible until your mind says, yes, I could see a glimpse of peace inside. I will not say, I have released all your repressed material, because there is none. Do you see? There is none. But why I feel it? Because of ignorance. I feel the blueness of a sky through my sense organ. I see the water in a mirage. That is the nature of our anxiety and the suffering, my friends. But you go to now compare. Now you will agree. Psychotherapist says, no, you have it. Why? That is why the manual of abnormal psychology that I had studied, I want to forget. Manual of abnormal psychology is where I have studied 3,000 mental and emotional illnesses. You have different categories of anxiety, isn't it? PTSD, etc., etc. I'm not criticizing. They are good. They are good in their own field. That is the beauty of this journey of yoga. That is the beauty. Let us pick up the last one now. Why to waste of? Because I remember this sutra, I always remember by heart. What is the cause of this suffering? Drashya drashyayo sanyogo heya hetu. Again, you see the two words, heya hetu. What is the cause of this suffering? The cause of my pain, my anxiety, my duality, my conflict. Disclaimer when I say anxiety, because it is the property of modern psychology. So I can use the word anxiousness, hesitation, anger. Anger is not a property of modern psychology. Huh? Mental challenges. It is not a property of modern psychology. So what he says, I see you, John. So you are the seen, I am the seer. When the seer and the seen identifies itself, there comes a mixture. That is the cause of all the suffering. Drashta drashya yo sanyogo heya hetu. I like this car. It's very good. I don't have money. Now I identify myself with that car. Now, I gave a rough example, normally people know there's a beautiful woman. The same thing, the same sensuality, same attachment comes. I go back home, my mind starts thinking, car, 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 credit card, credit card, credit card. I bought it, now I'm unable to pay. Gone. So now replace the car with a beautiful woman or man. Now I cannot tolerate you. You have so many demands. Too much. Identification. Seer in the seen identification. Knower the known identification. And I tell you, my friends, it will not go away if you are not a thinker. The thinker alone can leads to discernment. How can you lose the identification? Okay, let me do the mantra meditation practice. So until you are doing the mantra meditation, your mind will forget that identification. And the moment the mantra is gone, again the same identification. Car, 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 car. So I have to be a thinker. So thinker can lead you to discernment. Practice will not help there. So both has to go together. If they both do not go together, then it will not work. So thank you very much for tolerating me. And if you have anything, you can say to me. No, I will not say anything more. Sometimes I get crazy ideas to speak up. So yeah.
No, you're using
Yes, Kate.
I said, no, it's wise to use discernment.
Wise to?
Use discernment.
Yes, use discernment. That's why I don't want to say anything now.
Your real self is emerging.
Yes. So that is all.
Thank you, Girish.
Thank you.
Sent you the links. If you have a problem, just let me know and I'll send you the link again. Otherwise, we'll see you in about 15 minutes.
See you in 15 minutes. Now tolerate Kate and Lara. Thank you.
And they're going to tolerate me, Girish.
Hey.